It's not your customer's job to remember you. It's your job to remind your customers that you exist.
Customer experience wisdom, a dash of travel talk. We've been cleared for takeoff.
The best meals are served outside and require a passport.
I want you to think of the happiest place on earth. Now, think about the brand that comes to mind when I say the happiest place on earth. Time for some of that good old CX magic today on CX Passport, as our guest is Vance Morris, a 10-year Disney veteran who makes it his mission to bring just a little bit of that Disney-level service excellence to businesses of all kinds. Vance is the founder of Deliver Service Now, where he teaches service-based businesses how to transform ordinary interactions into these unforgettable customer experiences. Drawing from his years at Walt Disney World, managing iconic locations like the Contemporary Resort and Animal Kingdom, Vance has a proven system, and y'all know how much the word system matters to me, for turning customer service into a profit-driving engine. Now, I'm not sure if Vance had anything to do with that really good glass of pinotage I had at Animal Kingdom Resort a few years ago. I might have to ask about that as well. Beyond Disney, there are tales of playing in a band in college, working for restaurant brands like Legal Seafoods and Rainforest Cafe, and starting a carpet cleaning business. He's also a sought-after speaker, coach, and author who's passionate about helping businesses stand out and thrive by creating meaningful moments for their customers. Vance, welcome to CX Passport.
I appreciate it, Rick. This is going to be fun. Let's hop to it.
Hey, I love it. I'm already getting into Disney vibe already. So let's talk about that. So when people think of systems and processes, they often think about being trapped in this specific path, this policy. Oh, I got to follow the process today, right? Triplicate and bureaucracy and all that. Disney taught you, though, the value of process beyond what I just said there. Why are systems and processes so important to actually delivering those experiences that customers want?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the first thing I learned at Disney. I mean, you would think that it would have been, customer service or picking up trash or whatever. But systems and process was the first thing. And what I learned about them was that they give you freedom. Because once you have the system and process down, I was on the opening team of the Yacht and Beach Club Resort back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And this was before computers and the cell phones and stuff like that. And we walked into this room and it was just full of binders. I mean, binders everywhere. And I was like, what are these things? And my boss was like, well, this is how you run a resort. And there was a binder for everything, binder for the front desk, binder for the valet, restaurants, you name it.
Okay.
And I said, holy cow. And so I got my binder for, managing a restaurant and really big. And I said, is this all necessary? He goes, well, let me tell you something. So we have a system that we've been doing this for years. We have a system for everything. You want to change a bus tire? We got a system. You want to wait tables in a restaurant? We got a system. And once you have the system down, that allows you then to do all of the nice things and all of the experiences that Disney is known for, because you're operating the system. It just becomes rote. It just becomes second nature. And once you're nailed the system, now you're doing all that. Now we can take pictures for families. Now we can do all of the fun, exciting things that Disney is known for, that the cast members are known for. And I'm like, well, geez, that makes sense, because if you're constantly thinking of trying, okay, well, I got to be nice to somebody. I should be taking pictures, but wait, should I be doing this because I got to do over here? I got to do my job over here. Then he gets confused, and then the job doesn't get done right, or it doesn't get done at all. And then, well, we forget to take care of the guests. Then it just becomes a big mess.
Yeah.
So, yes. And I'll tell you, even in my carpet cleaning business, I mean, I installed systems there. Yeah. Because as a business owner, systems give you freedom. So I've had that business 17 years, and about 6-7 years ago, I completely took myself out of the business. And I have a general manager that runs it. And all I got to do is cash checks and kiss babies now, because I got systems and processes in place that allows me now to do what I love doing, which is talking about the customer experience, etc.
Yeah, I like that. Now, I don't know about the kissing babies part, but I do like the cashing checks part, and I think a lot of business like that, cashing checks. Let me ask you, there's almost a personality difference though between what you're describing there, and that is someone that can really live and thrive inside of a process environment, check 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 check, then also have that creativity to interact with the guests in the way that they do. I'm sure you saw it at Disney, you're taking it into your current business. How do you coach, hire, find that kind of talent that can live and thrive inside a checkbox land and live and thrive in creative guest relationship land?
Well, they understand. I mean, well, one, you got to find somebody who follows directions.
Okay. All right. Check.
Not always the easiest, especially for small business owners.
Right.
But you have to have a script that people follow. And it's not so much process, it's all in how you frame it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're doing an interview process in our small businesses, we tell people, look, we've got a script for this. And this is how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we expect you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to embellish a little, fantastic. Let your personality shine through. Great. That's fine. But you got to do it our way.
Right.
Otherwise, this relationship won't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times bosses, owners feel like they are being held over a barrel, being held hostage by their employees because they think that, oh my God, if I tell my employee what to do, he's going to quit. Well, that's not a good position to be in as a business owner.
Hey there, CX Passport travelers. I want to let you know about CX Passport Live. CX Passport Live helps brands amplify their event's impact with the power of live, in-person podcasting. Brands partner with CX Passport Live at their on-site event to help excite attendees, reward high-value customers, and convert potential customers. Bring a new level of energy and excitement to your event and amplify your brand's impact with CX Passport Live. Learn more at cxpassportlive.com. Now, back to the show. You know what? I think I'm fascinated by the way you answered that in the sense of it's both that we need, but it's almost the assumption that as humans we'll find our own path to be that sort of independent side of things, but you're starting with the checkbox, the list, the process, the structure. And I think from what I've known from Disney, I think that's something that it's known, right? These are systems just like you described that. I think what's fascinating to me is as a guest of Disney, I don't know that I necessarily have noticed the process. I notice what the freedom that process has provided gives me as that guest experience.
Yep.
How have you, because I mentioned Disney, obviously, but
Sure.
you're way more than Disney. You've got these large restaurant and iconic restaurant brands. And then you mentioned the carpet cleaning and small business in general. How do you take those lessons that you learned at the big companies? Because there's scale there, there's resources there. How do you take that into then creating your own small business?
That's a great question. And, I get that a lot, especially when people are resisting change.
Okay.
They say, well, I don't own a roller coaster. I don't own a castle, and why should I try and copy what Disney does? Who do you think you are? I don't have an elephant. Why should I try and copy what, Rainforest Cafe does? And that's the wrong question.
Right.
We're not trying to copy. We're trying to adapt what those companies are doing into our own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think back to like the 1950s. There was a McDonald's executive probably sitting in his car with a bank deposit, sitting at the bank in line, and he goes up and he puts his money in the little tube and it goes up the little chute. And he's probably sitting there thinking to himself, how do I put a milkshake in that thing? He's thinking, okay, well, how do I take that technology? How do I take that idea and put it in a completely different industry?
Right.
And that's what we've got to do as business owners. We look at, okay, what is Disney doing? What is Apple doing? What is Chick-fil-A doing? And how do we adapt those strategies to what we do?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things that, one of the words I'd like to think I came up with this word, but I probably didn't, is Disnefy.
Okay.
And my definition of Disnefying is creating experiences out of the mundane. So we all have boring, mundane things we have to do day in and day out to keep the business up and running. Disney company, Harley Davidson, Apple, etc., they have all just figured out ways to create experiences out of answering the telephone or getting people into the store or whatever. And so we just have to figure out, okay, well, what is the best way to answer the telephone? How do we do it so that it is engaging, so that it's an experience, and so that it separates us from everybody else, on the planet?
I wouldn't think about that in carpet cleaning, though. So I'm curious, how have you done that in the carpet cleaning world?
Oh, sure.
Because
So,
you're describing, answering the phone in a certain way, or to me, without talking to you first, I would think that carpet cleaning is pretty functional, pretty commoditized. So how does one create a great experience when it comes to carpet cleaning?
oh man, I'm so glad you asked that, because it is. And the thing is, Rick, we're all in highly commoditized businesses. I mean, it doesn't matter what, a dentist is a dentist is a dentist. There's
Great
only
point.
so many ways to clean teeth. I think there's two, right? The thing with the brush in there, and then they squirt the water, and that's it.
I like the water better.
No offense to dentists out there, but yeah. So real quick, before I answer the question, you have to have a mission in your company or in your business. I'm not saying a mission statement, but a mission that all of your employees can wrap their brains around. Mm-hmm. So Disney's mission, and again, not mission statement, but mission, is to make people happy. Okay. That's their mission. Okay. So any employee on the planet at the Disney World can wrap their brain around that mission. Mm-hmm. Great. And your mission has to be bigger than your job. So if you're sweeping the streets, great, that's your job, but the mission is to make people happy. Mm. So in my carpet cleaning business, yes, cleaning carpet is the job, or upholstery or tile or whatever else we do. Mm. But our mission is to create healthy homes. So all of my employees can wrap their brain around that. Yeah. And when we answer the telephone, we'll say, thank you for calling Eastern Shore Carpet Cleaning, where we make you a healthy home, create your healthy home. People are like, what? Create my healthy home? What do you mean?
I wouldn't think that, right?
And they'll ask the question, what do you mean create a healthy home? And we can go into, because we want them to ask the question.
Right.
And we're like, well, dust has this effect. And then there's these micro toxins and the stuff that you brought in from the gas station parking lot on your shoes because you didn't change your shoe, and on and on. Now we're in a conversation. And it's no longer just a commodity conversation. Now it's a conversation with a company that is viewed as an expert in healthy homes.
What a pivot. Okay, that does make sense. And I can see how that then would drive it's not just I have dirty carpet, you clean dirty carpet, let's make deal. It's this conversation, it's a relationship. It's, as we've been saying, an experience. Speaking of experience, you've taken all these experiences that we're describing, including that aforementioned carpet cleaning business, and have moved into coaching. Why coaching? What drew you there as opposed to, you could have gone into any sort of career path with what you're describing as an experience. Why coaching?
Well, between you, me, and all of the listeners, and the fence post, customer service, customer experience in the U.S. and pretty much around the world, it sucks.
Preach, amen, end of episode.
Your podcast, but it sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm just on a one-man mission to eradicate this suckiness of customer experience.
Okay.
So I coach businesses on how to do that.
I like you. What were we talking about earlier? Mission. Well, there's a pretty good mission, right? To make customer service suck less.
Suck less.
Yes, that's awesome. How have you found that pivot where it's no longer kind of your business? And I know coaching itself is a business, but as far as you're helping others grow their business, is that something? Do you ever find yourself sort of in that? Let me not ask it that way. How do you find that experience when you're helping someone else? You've got this wisdom, you know what they should do. How have you found that experience to be in the coaching world?
It's eye-opening when they get it. You can all of a sudden you can see, literally you see the light bulb doing, goes off in their head. Unfortunately, no business owner wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, my customer service really sucks. I should call Vance. Nobody wakes up with that conversation in their head.
Right.
And that's a shame. Not only for them, but for me.
Hey, let's be honest here. We're running a business.
I have to approach it from a different angle.
Right.
So what I really focus on for them is customer retention.
Yeah.
And so I don't do anything with SEO or lead generation or anything. I leave that up to those guys, those marketing guys. And I really focus on customer retention because, one, getting a new customer is very expensive. I mean, like ridiculously expensive. Keeping a customer once you have them is very cheap. So I'll give you a quick example. So I just got my numbers for January for my home service businesses.
Okay.
And it cost me $136 to get a new customer in the front door for my cleaning business.
Okay.
So like Google pay-per-click and everything rolled together.
Right.
$136. Now, if my minimum to go out to clean is $199.
Okay.
So if I just did the minimum job, that leaves me like $60 to pay the tech, put gas in the tank, rent, insurance, all that stuff. Doesn't leave much for me. But last year, on average, it cost me only $22 to keep a customer for the year. Now I'm talking. Now I got $170. I'm $100 richer.
Right.
By continually just marketing to my existing customers who already know, like, and trust me. There's no barrier. There's no resistance to a sale. They already know our product. They appreciate us. And it's just so much easier. So that's the angle I look at and say, look, yes, I agree. You need new customers to grow. But if you want to grow profitably, you need to focus on your existing. And that's where I really look at. So the customer experience, once you've got a customer in the front door, we do focus on the customer experience because that sets the stage for retaining customers. Because if you suck here and, either your product is deficient, your service is deficient, you're certainly not going to retain customers.
Right.
So we got to fix that first and foremost.
I want to come back to actually the tactics of that, like the idea of retention, because there's a ton of folks that say, what you said, it's expensive to get a new customer. It's cheaper to retain one. But tactically, and I imagine that you've got some tips there, but I want to make a complete, like our tires are screeching here. I'm going to make a turn. I want to talk about that playing in a band. I don't get to talk to folks that have played in a band that much before.
Goodness.
What are some favorite tales of yours from that time? And I mean, are there any lessons that you remember from back then that you apply today?
Wow. It ain't as all cracked up to be. But it beat being a cook in a kitchen or delivering pizza. We made enough money that's how I paid for college.
Oh, really? Okay, that's kind of cool.
And we did a mini tour in the Northeast. And I remember when we first started out on the tour, we had no money,
right.
And we couldn't afford the hotel the first night. We were playing a gig that night, but we couldn't check into the hotel because we didn't have any cash. So we went clamming. And we clammed. We were in Massachusetts. And so we went clamming that afternoon before sound check, and we sold the clams, and we had enough cash to get the hotel room. And then we went and unloaded. But yeah, it's glamorous lifestyle.
Boy, talk about it. I love how you said we were in Massachusetts. I'm like, well, it definitely had to be the Northeast, because if you're clamming in Iowa, you're probably not going to do really well as far as the gig in Des Moines. So
no, not at all.
So the glamour's not there. What about the lessons? What from that band lifestyle are you taking into today?
Yeah, you got to keep your foot on the pedal, the gas pedal. You got to keep it floored in marketing yourself, in hunting and gathering of what we would call a gig, or a customer in today's language. You can't let go, because if you do, it's not your customer's job to remember you. It's your job to remind your customers that you exist. And I found that so true as a band. If we were not in front of a bar manager, in front of a promoter, constantly sending out demos, we're easily forgotten, because there's, another 20 bands to fill our spot.
Vance, I have to imagine that during that time, you would have loved the chance to take a little break from some of that travel. I don't think you probably stumbled in any first-class lounges during then, but you get the chance to stumble into the first-class lounge today. here on CX Passport. So hopefully we'll have a little fun while we sit here in the lounge. What is a dream travel location from your past?
Dream travel location is any place without people,
Okay. I
but
like
except for my
that.
wife, of course. And no
Good answer.
kids, but it is honestly, it is just being alone,
Mhm.
no people around. Honestly, it would be on a beach with with the birds, the sun setting, sailboats going by, birds chirping,
Nice.
on a blanket. I know exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter where,
I like it.
and
So
it's got to be warm. We've discussed
yes,
that already. It can't be
we
cold. It's got
definitely
to be warm.
definitely agree there. Well,
And I could have a basket of cold fried chicken. I don't care.
yeah,
You
just
know,
something peaceful. I love it.
something
Well, what
peaceful.
about going forward? Is there a dream travel location, specifically a place in the world or even close by that you've not been to yet?
Yeah, we are looking at. We're definitely going to Spain, probably next year,
Nice.
which we're Barcelona,
Ah,
which we are
yeah.
looking forward to, and my middle son is getting married, I think next year, so we'll be taking a trip to Germany for
Oh,
that.
nice. Okay.
Um, and then I definitely want to go back to Costa Rica. We had a great
Yeah.
time there, but we had kids with us, and so that was kind of a drag.
Boy, Costa Rica is beautiful, and all the places you're describing are wonderful too. You mentioned that bucket of cold fried chicken. I'm sure that's yummy, but probably not your favorite. What's a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Top of the list, and I'd be a poor Marylander if I didn't say it, would be steamed crabs.
There it is. It's like, is
Gotta
this
have
part of
that.
your citizenship of being in Maryland? You have to
Yeah,
answer that
yeah,
way.
yeah. You gotta have those. And then honestly, they don't have this restaurant anymore. There was a restaurant in Orlando called Pebbles. I
Mm.
think it's gone now. And they had this escargot dish
Mm.
with they it was garlic, butter, and Pernod
Oh,
that
nice.
they made the little sauce with. And I mean, escargot was okay, but boy, I take a loaf of bread and just start
You
dipping it in
just
that sauce. That's
that
all
does.
I needed.
Boy, that sounds really good. Well, let's go the other direction. What's something growing up you were forced to eat but you hated as a kid?
Lima beans.
There it is. Like that. The fastest answer I've ever gotten.
You don't have to ask me twice. Lima
Ah,
beans. That's it.
yeah, I don't understand lima beans. Never been a fan. Still not a fan. It's not something I grew
Nope.
into. So I'm with you, absolutely with you there, Vance. Vance, it's time for us to leave the first class lounge. What is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I think you've stumped me. There is nothing I need to bring. I mean, if I'm allowed to bring a book, I'd bring a good book. But other than that, clean pair of underwear.
Vance, I have to agree with you on the clean pair of underwear there. But what I love about the simplicity of your answer is I don't need anything. Remember, I just need to be on a beach, Rick. So as long as I'm there, life is good.
I,
So I
I,
appreciate that
I
aspect
don't
of
think
it.
I told you this, Rick. And I gotta. It's well, I don't know if we're going to be video or not on this podcast, but this is my phone.
Oh, we are on video. So, folks, if you're listening, it's time to
This
stop and go over to YouTube and listen to this. This is the real deal.
this
That
is
is
my
a
phone.
flip. Is that Nokia?
This
Oh,
is
no,
a
that's
flip. This is a Samsung
Samsung flip phone, folks.
flip
This is
phone.
brilliant.
I don't get any doodads. There's no ringy dingies. I can't text. Nothing. It's a phone. It's all it
What I
does.
you want to talk the return to simplicity. You are both significantly kind of behind technology, but actually kind of ahead of a curve that I've seen some adoption of this de-smartification of the phone that folks are carrying. And so I think you're ahead of a bit of a trend here that I've started to see out there. So
Yeah.
folks, definitely go check that out. This is pretty interesting to see what Vance just showed me on the screen. Vance, I want to get back into kind of that idea of experience and the business wisdom that you have offered others from your experience. There's a term, price elasticity. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot. In this consultant deck or this white paper, you have said to me that you see experience driving success in price elasticity. First, I'd love for you just to define it, and then share more about why does customer experience matter when it comes to price elasticity.
Sure. So to me, price is elastic based on who you are selling to. So you have to identify who your target market is to begin with. And I always use the example of, amusement parks and Disney. So let's say you went to your local county fair. It's $20. Ride all the rides you want all night long. You probably get food poisoning from the trucks. It's a bunch of ex-cons and current cons that are running it, and half the fun is whether the ride is going to survive or collapse throughout the night, right? So that's $20. The next level up is like your Great Adventure, Six Flags kind of place. Still thrill rides. Probably don't have any cons working there. The food will probably suffice, won't kill you. And it's probably about $60. So it's worth 3x the county fair. Then you get to Disney. It's $180 to get in for the day at Disney.
Right.
That's 9x the county fair. It's a small world, really 9 times better than the Ferris wheel at the county fair. I would argue that it's not. If you took away all of the dancing dolls and the music and everything, it's a really boring ride. It just goes in a circle.
I have a strong opinion about that ride.
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
So that experience that Disney provides, which is all the other stuff, which is the cleanliness, the food quality, the niceness of the cast members, the overall entertainment. That's where that price has now gone from $20 to $180.
Okay.
So that's kind of the example I like to use. But let's bring it down to a small business.
Yeah, because Disney is a great, it's almost like your ivory tower version. But in carpet cleaning, in dentistry, in ma and pa, how does this apply?
I like to offer my customers, you look at the stereotypes of your industry, okay? And you break those stereotypes in order to gain price elasticity. So carpet cleaning, they're known for, 3 rooms for $37. You get the sticker on the back of the stop sign at the traffic light. So you're just going to get, a guy with a shop vac and a garden hose, and he's going to call himself a carpet cleaner. So we look at, okay, well, what can we do to counteract that? So we add in guarantees and warranties. Now, these don't cost me anything, but they do ensure to our customers that, we stand behind the product. So like we have a warranty that says we have a 14-day whoopsie warranty, which says from the time we clean, and you got 14 days, if your husband, knocks over his beer on the clean carpet, don't worry, call us. We'll come back out and we'll clean that spot up, no charge.
I like that.
No problem. And then we also have a guarantee. If we reapply the stain resistance, we'll guarantee your carpet no permanent stains for 1 year. So if, again, let's not always blame the husband, although it's usually his fault. You get, your kid decides to play tic-tac-toe, with a Sharpie, and you can't get the spot out with our spot remover. Give us a call. We'll come back out and we'll touch that spot up, no charge, and reapply the stain resistance to that. So there's no cost to me, except if I have to go out and actually do the service.
Right.
And even then it's not that much, but I can charge extra because I have added that. So my price is now more elastic than anybody else's because I have these warranties and guarantees. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I see how you're describing experience, and even just the intrigue that you offer when someone calls and it's about the health of the home. Well, now I'm not talking about just whether my carpet looks good or not. I'm talking about my health and my family's health, and that I can see that. I mentioned that I did want to get tactical about customer retention. Like theory is good, but now if you're focused on customer retention, what are some actions a brand, like right now, what should they be doing right now tactically to improve that customer retention?
100%. So I said earlier, it's not the customer's job to remember you. It's your job to remind the customer that you exist.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than losing a customer because you ignored them.
Mhm.
And that's truly what it is, you ignoring the customers. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons customers leave you. 1% die. Well, there's not much we can do about that. Three well, there isn't. 2 or 3% move. Well, okay. We could say there's probably not much we can do about that. But almost 68% leave a company because they feel neglected.
Mhm.
They feel forgotten. So what can we do to put a titanium fence around them to keep them in and keep our competitors out? Well, I am a firm believer in the U.S. Postal Service. They have a better deliverability rate than any email service out there. It's still like 99%.
Okay.
So I look at this as a 3 or 4 prong approach. Multimedia. I'm not against online, but so for creating an engagement, creating a connection with your customer, I suggest you do a newsletter, a real paper newsletter.
Mhm.
And I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. So my daughter, Emma, used to do ballet. And I always took the obligatory picture of her at the recital and her in her tutu and would put it in the newsletter
Mhm.
from ages like 5 until, I don't know, 9 or 10. And we were in the grocery store one day, and this lady ran up to my daughter and said, "Oh my God, Emma, how was your recital?" And Emma's looking at me like, should we go hide in the
Yeah.
frozen food section? And I had to remember, oh, she's got to be one of my clients. So this lady has grown up with my daughter.
How fun.
My kids now have thousands of aunts and uncles. I've created an emotional connection with this person.
Right.
She's never leaving me because of that connection. Yeah, I'd have to royally screw up for her to leave.
Right.
So you use a newsletter to create that connection. It's kind of like Reader's Digest Lite.
Mhm.
And I highly suggest you use your personality, use who you are in the newsletter. And then you send them a monthly postcard. And the postcard is designed for your promotion. Because use the newsletter, because what would it feel like if the only time you ever heard from a company is when they wanted your money?
Yeah, just selling to me. Yeah.
That kind of sucks. So then we send the postcard, like 2 weeks later. It's got a nice promotion on it, preferably that, resounds with, okay, we just had the Super Bowl, so maybe you have a football kind of
Right.
promotion or Valentine's or whatever. And then you send a weekly email, which is kind of a combination of the two.
Mhm.
So you've got maybe some kind of light story in there, and then your PS is the offer.
Right.
So right there is a customer retention system that cannot fail.
You know what? I think I want to end there because there's probably a dozen other ones that you have, Vance. What I like about that, though, is a couple things that are coming to mind. And this is very off the cuff, but one is it's intentional, right? This isn't happening automatically. Customer retention doesn't happen just, oh, I hope that we deliver a great enough experience that they stick around. That wasn't enough. That's important, but that was the baseline. Then you have this intentional, and I'm going to use a term, kind of surround sound approach of I've got a newsletter that comes to them, paper newsletter. I've got the email postcard, and I've got the electronic approach of the email that's coming to them. And then lastly, the personality of it, that it is a lot easier for me to stay loyal to a personality of a brand. I think that a lot of times that there's a particular Dallas airline that I have some loyalty towards because there's a personality associated with that brand, which is starting to fade with some active investor involvement. And so it'll be interesting to see if the loyalty there breaks down. But that personality component that you're describing seems so valuable. Vance, if folks wanted to get to know a little bit more about you, your approach to customer price elasticity, customer retention, and just simply the coaching, or heck, if they need their carpets cleaned, where can they find out more about you?
Yeah, best place is my website, which is deliverservicenow.com.
Okay.
And actually, I just created, some people call them white papers or whatever, free reports. I actually just created a hot sheet called 52 Ways to Wow Your Customers Without Breaking the Bank.
Nice.
So it's one wow a week, and you can find that at wow52ways.com.
Cool. I'll get both of those in the show notes. Everybody scroll down there and you can get to Vance's website and learn how to wow a customer one time a week for an entire year. I love that. Vance, this has been an enjoyable ride for me. It's certainly the Disney experience, but and again, because that's so great and it's so ivory tower, I love how you've taken us into that tangible, that tactical, that small business approach that I think can be used, whether I'm a small business owner or I'm someone working inside a team at a larger company. A lot of those ideas apply. Vance, it's been a treat for me today. Thank you for being on CX Passport.
Thanks for having me, Rick. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. If you like today's episode, I have 3 quick next steps for you. Click subscribe on the CX Passport YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app. Next, leave a comment below the video or a review in your favorite podcast app so others can find and enjoy CX Passport too. Then head over to cxpassport.com for show notes and resources that can help you create tangible business results by delivering great customer experience. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.